This is an application for a land use bylaw text amendment to enable bed and breakfast operations within all residential units in all zones that permit residential units. My name is Alice Jacob, and I am a planner with the County of Kings. The purpose of this presentation is to inform the public about this amendment and to explain the planning policies that enable this amendment to occur, and to also receive preliminary feedback from the public. No opinions have been formed on this amendment at this point, and no decisions have been made. In terms of our process, the first step of the process is to receive a complete application, which we have received. The second step is to organize a public information meeting. The public information meeting was held on October 29, 2024 in the council chambers, and this is a recording of the PIM presentation. The third step is a staff review, where staff will review the application, consult with internal and external departments if required, and prepare a staff report. This report will then be presented to the Planning Advisory Committee. The Planning Advisory Committee will decide whether to recommend it to the Council. If they recommend a positive recommendation, Council will then give the application a first reading. The Council will decide whether to forward the application to a public hearing. And the public hearing will again be notified on our website and on social media. The meeting will be held in the council chambers and will be open to the public. So this is an opportunity for the public to come in and share their comments with the council. And soon after the hearing, the council will give the application a second reading, at which point, based on the input from the public and the staff recommendation and also the recommendation from the PAC, council will form a decision. And this decision will be advertised on our website, at which point a 14-day appeal period will begin. And during this period, the decision of the council could be appealed to the Nova Scotia Utility and Review Board. There are two prompts for this amendment. So the first one is an application we received requesting this amendment. The applicant has a property in Black River Lake. The property has an existing residential dwelling, and the owner wants to operate a bed and breakfast operation within the dwelling. So bed and breakfast operations are currently permitted as home-based businesses within 1 and 2 unit dwellings in a lot of areas within the county. However, they are subject to a few requirements, and one such requirement is frontage on public road. The subject property has frontage on Black River Road, but the road is not a public road, and hence the use cannot be permitted as of right. The second prompt for this amendment is, in August 2024, the province made it mandatory that all short-term rentals be registered with the province in order to operate. And this registration process requires a confirmation letter from the municipality stating that the short-term rental is in compliance with the land use bylaw of the municipality. Our land use bylaw did not include regulations specific to short-term rentals. So just to clarify, bed and breakfast operations would also be classified as short-term rentals. And this amendment is a step towards introducing regulations specific to short-term rental use. The county has two main planning documents. One is the municipal planning strategy and the other is the land use bylaw regulations. The municipal planning strategy, or the MPS, is our policy document which has policies pertaining to land use, and the land use bylaw regulations, or the LUB document, has all the regulations which are framed based on the policies from the MPS. So based on these, the county is divided into various zones, and each zone has a specific set of requirements within the land use bylaw. And the land use bylaw also has some general requirements, general regulations. So the proposal here is to amend the text of this land use bylaw in order to enable bed and breakfast operations within residential units in all zones that permit residential units. So this map shows all the zones within the county that permits residential units, and the amendment would apply to all these zones. Just going back to what a bed and breakfast is and what this amendment would do. So a bed and breakfast or a B&B is a residential unit in which overnight accommodation is provided to the public, and meals may be included for overnight guests. It is also the principal residence of the owner. So in order to operate a bed and breakfast, the owner will have to reside in that particular residential unit. As mentioned previously, bed and breakfasts are currently permitted as home-based businesses and are subject to certain requirements. A home-based business is when you have an accessory use within your residential unit for the purposes of employment. So through this amendment, bed and breakfasts would no longer be classified under home-based businesses in the land use bylaw and would also have a few more relaxations applied. At this point, we are not sure what this amendment would look like or what changes would be made to the text of the land use bylaw, but we will have the details in the staff report once the review is done with. In order for someone to request or for us to process an amendment to the land use bylaw, we need to have policies within our municipal planning strategy that would enable the amendment. This is policy 5.3.2 from the municipal planning strategy that enables this amendment. And the policy states, Council shall amend the text of the land use bylaw provided the proposal meets the general criteria for amending the land use bylaw set out in section 5.3 development agreements and amending the land use bylaw. And this is another policy from the municipal planning strategy that applies to all planning applications, and a few criteria of the policy apply to this application as well. In order to come to a decision, the council must be satisfied that the amendment meets the intent of this policy. So during our review process, we would be assessing if the amendment is in keeping with the intent of the municipal planning strategy and that it does not conflict with the municipal bylaws or regulations. And we would also assess if the proposal would have any financial impact on the municipality. And that concludes my presentation. So if there are any concerns or questions, you can reach out to me at 902-690-6276 or via email at ajacob@countyofkings.ca. Thank you.